We all have reasons preventing us from trimming down and toning up. It's fair enough if you're not into the habit of being trim, of being lean, of looking after yourself physically. It's understandable that you're going to come up with all sorts of reasons why you're not really ready to do it right now. Today's podcast is all about trying to sort out some of those reasons. My reasoning for this isn't so that I'm nagging you into doing it. I want you to have a good think about, are these real reasons or are they just excuses? And if they are excuses, are you just preventing yourself from changing, or do you want to change and your voices are stopping you? We all have our voices, don't we? I've got plenty of them. No, I haven't. Yes, I have. Shut up. This is Pete Robin here. I'm from See Your Toes again. This is podcast number 6, and the name of it is Reasons Preventing You from Trimming Down and Toning Up. Now, this applies to whether you're a man or a woman, but generally I would suggest that you are in at least your 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s. I'm 60 years old, and I have a lot of colleagues who could do with toning up. You know, they are overweight, especially in the belly section, and the problem with anybody who's really over the age of 40, 45 years old is that it can become a real health issue. I don't want to nag you about all the health consequences. I think I did that in my first podcast, but just briefly outlining it. First of all, if you're overweight, there's every chance that you could get type 2 diabetes. You don't want that. You're going to end up on insulin shots for the rest of your life. We can prevent that, and we can rectify it, by the way. That's another story altogether. You might have high blood pressure if you're overweight. Basically, you've got a lot of fat in your body, and that fat isn't just around your waist. It's in your veins. It's between your organs. It's causing your heart to have to work a lot harder to push the blood through those veins. So you end up with high blood pressure. And high blood pressure can cause all sorts of problems, of course, including making your heart work a hell of a lot harder than it really wants to work. Thirdly, then, moving on about your heart, comes heart attacks, which, let's face it, a heart attack could ruin your whole day. Apparently, there are something like there's a heart attack victim goes into a hospital every 5 minutes in the UK. That's a hell of a number. I've even heard more numbers than that, but that's a number bandied around by the Heart Foundation of the UK, so you're welcome to Google it. So a heart attack, then you've got all the heart diseases as well. Your heart, you've only got one. It has to pump every minute of every day. It started pumping before you were born, and it'll stop pumping when you die. You just don't want that die bit to be today or tomorrow. You want it to be sometime in the distant future. Now, for that heart to keep pumping and keep working, it's easy for us to forget all about it because you can't see it. It's just there. It does its job. It's a bit like some bit in your car where, hey, as long as it's working, who gives a shit? Well, the trouble is when it stops working, you can't just break down on the side of the road and wait for a tow truck to come and pick you up and take you away. And you get a hire car for a couple of weeks while your car gets fixed. If it's your heart, then, okay, you can end up being lucky enough to go to hospital and end up being given a second chance. But a lot of people don't get the second chance. And that's for men and women. So we want to prevent all this from happening. And the best way to prevent it is to lose weight. If you've got excess body weight and you're, let's call you middle-aged, it could be young middle-aged, you could be young, you could be in your 30s, you could be a little bit older than middle-aged. I'd like to think that 60 is still middle-aged, but I think people would probably suggest otherwise. I'm an optimist. So you need to lose weight. You know you've got weight behind you. You've got New Year's Eve coming up where you're going to make a whole bunch of new resolutions, and you might decide you're going to give up smoking. Hope you don't decide to give up alcohol unless it's a problem in your life. you might decide that you're going to do something this year about cutting down on the foods you eat and all of that sort of stuff. Making New Year's resolutions is great, but why wait till New Year? And let's face it, how many people who make a New Year's resolution follow it through? My New Year's resolution a couple of years ago was to not make any resolutions, and it's worked quite well for me. I haven't broken any that I haven't made yet. So let's go through some reasons. I've got 7. I might come up with some more while I'm thinking, but here we go. Here's 7 of them. So the first one, not enough time in my day. Now this is quite important, and I can see how it is a problem because I know how much time I've got in my day, and there's not a hell of a lot left to just piss around. Now, normally that can be because you maybe you just need to think, well, what am I doing during the day that I can get rid of? What is it that's not as important? Here's the thing about, now, hang on, let's take it back a step. Not enough time in my day. What I'm talking about there is, of course, exercise. Yeah, sorry, I had to bring that up. It was a bit early to bring it up, and I didn't even warn you. But exercise is a really important part of losing weight, trimming down, toning up. And I'll talk a little bit more about that soon. But as far as I'm concerned, going for a walk is okay. It's not what I recommend. I would strongly recommend that you go to the gym, go to your local gym, hopefully a decent one, not some pokey little backyard one with some broken down machines and a few bloody pumped up, jacked up people wandering around. A decent gym with lots of equipment. Go to the gym, get yourself a membership. These days, most memberships aren't annual like they used to be. Gym owners used to love New Year's resolutions because people would go in and they'd get a year's membership. I'm going to do this for a year, and of course, within 3 weeks they've stopped, and the membership keeps getting paid, but the people don't show up. So the gym owners are just getting lots and lots of free money. So I'm talking about getting to the gym, and that would really ultimately take an hour out of your day. Now, here's the thing. How many hours of your day do you spend looking after you? Let's take it back to that heart thing, and we'll add the lungs in there. Your whole cardiovascular system, which is what pumps the blood around your body. All of that needs to be looked after. How much time are you spending looking after all of that gear? That's what this hour is all about. It's about looking after you. But once you get used to it, then it being the gym and all of that, you'll start to find that it's actually quite enjoyable. I really look forward. Okay, I'm a bit of a gym freak, I'll admit, so I'm not the right person to talk to maybe about this. But I really look forward to my gym sessions. I work until 5 o'clock. I drop tools. Tools are my computer, so I don't drop my computer, but you know what I mean. It's a figure of speech. I get changed, jump in my car, drive the 2 miles to the gym. It's the busiest time of the day, of course, 5:30 at the on a weekday at the gym. But I know people down there. I can smile to a bunch of people. I get into my own routine depending on what day it is what exercises I'm going to do. And I really enjoy it. Some days I'm knackered. Some days I think I can't be asked. My body doesn't want to go to the gym today, and I have a day off, and that feels really good. The point is, you've got to have an hour to yourself. It's not an hour to your family. It's not an hour to your dog. It's not an hour to your customers. It's an hour for you. And that's why going for a walk isn't really it. Well, that's not why, but the why is because I want you to be able to do a bit more than just walking. This is important because, and I'll do another podcast shortly about this, but if you want to trim down and lose body fat, we want to make sure that you don't lose muscle in the process. Now, a lot of the streamlined weight loss methods that are online, these big corporates who you'll spend lots of money with for them to help you lose weight. yes, you will lose weight, but a lot of that will be muscle, because they don't suggest that you do lots of weight training. They suggest you do a bit of cardiovascular exercise, and that's a good way to lose muscle. So what happens is, yes, you lose weight, you feel better because you jump on the scales and you've dropped 5 kilos in the last 2 months, but of those, 3 of those kilos could very well have been muscle. And then when you've finished it, you just feel like crap because you're so much weaker. You look a bit funny because you're kind of a bit washed out and seepy looking. And then if you do stop, then you'll put even more weight back on because you don't have the muscles to burn the energy. Muscles burn energy. Fat doesn't. Muscles do. So keeping muscles going helps you burn energy, and building more muscles makes you burn even more energy. So it's a win-win, and you look better and you feel better because you're stronger. So going to the gym and doing weight training or resistance training, it can even be maybe you're at home doing body weight exercises. I don't suggest you do exercising at home if you can help it. It's only, I think I spend something like 20 quid a month for my membership. Now, that's pretty good money well spent as far as I'm concerned. I go there, I've got lots of different equipment. I've got other people motivating me because I can look around and think, yeah, okay, I need to pull my finger out. These other people are doing their job. There's lots of treadmills. Some days I do go on the treadmill. There's all sorts of other bloody bikes and things which I can't stand. Oops, did I say that out loud? There's lots of machinery. There's lots of things. You can even jump into spin classes or body pump classes. They're all bloody good because they'll really get your heart pumping. Maybe once a week you do one of those. Try not to have a heart attack in the process, because again, not only can a heart attack ruin your whole day, but it can make you feel really embarrassed in the middle of a class, especially full of young, fit women. So, yeah, not enough time in my day. You've got to find yourself an hour, which is just for you. It's dedicated for you. I personally, like I said, go at 5. I used to go at lunchtime, and then I went and got me a dog, and now I walk the dog at lunchtime, which means I go to the gym at 5. A lot of people go before work. I've tried that before. It just doesn't work for me, but for them it does. And for them, a lot of people like it also because they go before breakfast. So they're going on an empty stomach, which is much better than going on a full stomach. You don't want to go to the gym after a feed. If you go at lunchtime, go to the gym and then eat afterwards. So find yourself time. Once you find yourself that time, you'll feel so much better and you'll look forward to it after a week or two. You've got to, obviously, it's new. It's daunting when you first go in. You're the stranger. You don't know the equipment. You don't want to look like a dick or a dickette. So it's important to meet somebody there, you can also meet a friend, of course, but have a chat to somebody that works there. Get them to show you the machinery if you don't know it already. Maybe even get into a routine. I will have a routine on my website, which you can give me your email address and I'll flick it to you. And I must do that. You've reminded me. SeeYourToesAgain.com is my website. And then you can get into doing a few exercises that will build up a bit of muscle. They won't kill you. They'll make you feel a hell of a lot better, and you'll come out of it a whole lot better. And once you've done it for a couple of weeks and you start getting used to the exercises, so you don't look quite such a newbie, you will start to really enjoy it. And what you'll notice is when you're first doing, I hate the bench press. I normally do a dumbbell bench, but if you're doing a barbell bench press, which is of course what everybody likes to do, especially blokes, everyone wants to be the guy that pushes the heaviest weights on the bench and looks like a big I am. If you're pushing, say, the bar is 20 kilos and you've got 5 kilos on each end. So if you're pushing 30 kilos and you do a set of 8, and then next week you push 30 kilos and you do a set of 10, and you can see results every week, especially when you're new. You'll see you're either pushing more or you can just put that little bit of extra weight on and push the same quantity, and you do feel good. Incidentally, I write down everything in my phone, in my notes file on my phone, so I've got a different folder for each day, as in chest day, shoulders day, legs day, and then every time I go to the gym, tonight was chest day, I just find the chest day folder, scroll to the bottom, put the date in, and then start adding my weights that I've lifted. And that way I can look up and see what weights I lifted last week or a month ago. I was quite chuffed. I did more chin-ups today than I think I've ever done, to be honest. I'm not going to tell you how many. And then I went and did more dips than I've ever done. It was probably because I didn't do quite as many chest exercises first, dumbbell lifts. But anyway, I digress. So, not enough time in my day. If you can find an hour for yourself, you will really, really enjoy it. And that's when losing weight, I hate that phrase, getting trim, getting slim, getting lean, putting on a bit of, whether if you're a bloke and you want to put muscle on, or if you're a woman and you want to tone up and look a little bit nicer, you can do that, and that makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're progressing. You're not just going to a weight loss conglomerate and eating food that makes you lose weight, and eating a carrot and some lettuce leaves, which is no fun for anybody. You're actually doing something that is enjoyable. Right, number 2 leads directly on. I hate cardio. That's number 2. That's your reasons preventing you from trimming down and toning up. I hate cardio. Well, guess what? I do too. So cardio, a lot of people love it. Let's face it, if you're a distance runner, you won't want me saying I hate cardio. A lot of people will go to the gym and that's all they'll do. They'll get on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Some of them will be reading a book and going at about the speed where a snail could probably travel faster. Other ones will get on the push bike and dawdle along, or they might be on the cross trainer. It's not, and some of them do work hard and they build up a bloody good sweat, but it's not testing your muscles. It's not making your muscles think, I've got to build, I've got to look after myself. It's not making your body think, I need to look after these muscles. So when you're losing weight, your body will still think, I can afford to get rid of my arm muscles and my chest muscles, my back muscles, because I'm not using them while I'm jogging. So you'll end up being a bit of a rake at the top. So nothing against rakes. They do a good job. But do you want to look like one? So once a week, incidentally, I have a 5-day schedule, and then I always have at least one day off during the week, just to bludge. So it kind of becomes a 6-day schedule, and one of those days is dedicated to cardio. I go to the gym, I get on the treadmill, I do a 5-minute warm-up, which is just jogging and walking and trying to get my knees to work. And then, actually, my knees have been really good lately. I got a bit drunk on Saturday night, and I must admit Sunday when I was down there, my knees ached, but that was probably because I spent all night rah-ring on my feet, and then I walked halfway home because it was just before Christmas. There weren't any cabs. I digress. So cardio, so I go once a week. I do a 40-minute time trial. So once I finish warming up, I stop the treadmill, or if there's a spare one beside me, I just switch to another treadmill. I stick 40 minutes on there, and then I go as far as I can in that 40 minutes. And I've only been doing this for a couple of months, once a week, once every 6 days. And the results are pretty compelling. I have been taking off between, I've been adding on between sort of 0.1 and 0.3 miles every week onto my total amount. Now, when you first do this, and again, this would be part of your gym routine if you follow my routine, then you might not be running, you might be literally walking. That might be your main goal, is to walk for 40 minutes at whatever pace you can manage. I don't want you having a heart attack, so at the start you do it slowly, you just do what you can manage. You finish your 40 minutes, you write down how far you got because it shows up on the treadmill. It shows you how many miles or kilometers you did in that 40 minutes. Write it down in your phone. And then next week, your whole mission is to get that distance or a little bit better. And you'll find, again, over the weeks, you'll get better. And at some stage when you're walking, you'll think, okay, can I jog for 30 seconds and then walk for a couple of minutes and then jog for 30 seconds and then walk? Can I do that? It's a bit like the Couch to 5K, which I did during lockdown and it nearly bloody killed me. But it was kind of enjoyable. Now I can run, and then I stopped doing it straight afterwards. But now I can run the 40 minutes at a reasonable pace for me, and it's quite challenging at the time. But I certainly feel like I'm bigger than Hercules when I'm finished. So, incidentally, with me hangover the other day, I did have to stop quite a bit and walk. That's another story. Okay. So, I hate cardio. You don't have to do cardio. You can do it one day a week. The other 4 days of the session are weight training. I normally do one day is chest, day 2 is shoulders and arms, day 3 is back and abs, which are your stomach muscles. Day 4 is your jog or run or walk, which is your cardio. And then day 5 is legs and deadlifts, which is a real bastard of a day. And then day 6 is, if you don't feel like it, you have the day off. But your day off is any day that you want. And if you end up having 2 days off, it's not the end of the world. And that's why you don't always do legs on a particular day of the week. It's whatever the day it comes up on. So hating cardio isn't an excuse. We can get rid of that excuse. The third one, I hate dieting. So do I. Dieting is a pain in the ass. Dieting is the standard way that we've been told we have to lose weight. We have to cut down our calories. We have to calorie count. You're best to get one of these calorie counting apps, and you're going to count everything you eat. And you're going to have a look and see how many calories you're supposed to have. Oh, I'm a bloke. I'm supposed to have 2,000 calories. Okay, I'll try to have 1,800 calories and see how that gets on. The problem with dieting is that the foods you eat they're not that nutritious generally, and you will end up not feeling great. So the foods I suggest, and again, if you go onto my website, you'll see foods to eat and foods to throw away. I will admit that my foods are ketogenic. That means that they're high fat, low carbohydrate. And once you do those, you'll find that you can eat quite a bit. You can eat lots of salady stuff, lots of cheeses, fatty meats. You can eat whatever you want, fish, all that sort of stuff, plenty of protein. That's in podcast number 2 by memory, as to what to eat. But the thing about it is, what it means is that you don't end up dieting at all. You eat as much as you like. With my tea tonight, yes, I had done a gym workout. I was a bit bloody hungry, to be honest. I'd had a shower after the gym workout, I had some pork chops, which I chucked into the air fryer and then went up and had my shower. So it was probably an hour after my gym session before I sat down to eat. And I was hungry. And I ate until I felt full. And it felt bloody good. And that's how you can lose weight. You don't have to diet. There are better ways than dieting these days. There really are. So go to my website or listen to podcast 2. Listen to my other podcasts. See what you think. Number 4, I'll do it soon. I'm just not ready. Well, that's fair enough. We all use that excuse, let's face it. We all use it. I use it at work all the time when I'm trying to skive out of something. I think it's called putting everything in the too hard basket. It's a lot easier to leave it in that too hard basket, and at some stage, hopefully, somebody will forget about it, and then you can take it out of the too hard basket and just drop it in the waste basket. When it comes to your health, I'll do it later or I'll do it soon. I'm not ready. When are you going to be ready? Are you going to be ready after you've had that heart attack? Or I don't mean to sound like, a bad guy here, but after you've caught type 2 diabetes, or after you've been to the doctor and he says you've got high blood pressure, you got to have these, you got to end up being on medication forever. And then you think, oh crap, I suppose I should do something about my health. Well, why wait until then? Why wait until the bad news? Why not do it now and actually be preventative? Not to mention, you're going to end up looking better. You're going to end up, one of the other benefits of losing body fat is that you will, and building muscle, is you will find certain other things happen to your system. Your hormones will start to change a little bit. One of those hormones will be testosterone if you're a bloke. And you will find you're not going to end up building muscle like some jacked up bloke who's doing steroids, but you will put muscle on, and you will find that testosterone works marvelously in other facets of your life, especially if you've had difficulty with those facets in the past. Incidentally, high blood pressure apparently stops those facets from working properly because your body decides that it doesn't want all of that blood to go to your pee-wee, and so that's why guys with high blood pressure will often lose a hard-on because their blood is being taken away to go somewhere else, and that's because of your high blood pressure. So all of that can be either rectified or prevented by you deciding to do it now and not doing it soon. What's going to be different tomorrow? What's going to be different next month? Oh, I'll do it after New Year. Why? Why start after New Year? Why not start tomorrow? Why not start? Well, it's no point starting tonight. Hopefully you've already eaten. Let's say you're listening to this at lunchtime. Why not think about, hey, let me prepare today and tomorrow. I've got a book about this. You could always buy the book. It's on Amazon. Give yourself a read. Say, right, I'm going to read this in a week or 2 weeks, however fast you can read. I'm going to start this. I'm going to pull my finger out and get going. Then do it. Why wait until New Year so it can be another broken New Year's promise? If you start now, then when you get to New Year, you can say, right, I can think up a new, that's easy for me to say, a new New Year's resolution, because I've already started this other resolution. I've already started to lose weight, build muscle, get trim, whatever I want to call it, get healthy. I've already started that. That box is already ticked. Do yourself a favor. Don't do it soon. Do it now. Number 5. Healthy food is expensive. I do get this from time to time. And that's because people look in the aisles and they see all the steaks and all that sort of stuff and all your health foods, and you think, man, I could feed my family of 12 kids and ma and pa kettle. I could feed them all on a couple of pizzas from the fridge department of the supermarket and probably cost me £8. The nutritional benefits of those pizzas, let's not even go down there. But the thing is, when I'm in, you can see I've been in the UK long. Did you notice how I pronounced the G then? The thing is, I see people loading up at the supermarket counter, where the checkout chick is. Oh, that's sexist. The checkout person is, and they load up all of their gear, and they've got so much junk. They've got big bottles of fizzy drink. They've got biscuits. They've got a cake. They've got crackers. They've got Pringles. They've got all sorts of shit. They got bread, and they got buns, and they've got scones, and they've got crumpets, and they've got all sorts of crap. When you go through my list of food to not eat and food to eat, then most of that stuff that they have on their check, I look and I think, man, of all that, it must cost them a fortune. They could get rid of 2/3 of what they have on the counter. They'd have a bit of meat left over, a few veg, bugger all, because most of these people are filling up on bread and buns and all that other shit. They're not filling up on vegetables, and I don't like vegetables either. I hate broccoli. But there's another story. But they don't have lots of salads and tomatoes and all that sort of stuff on the counter. They have all this other crap. So if you can get rid of all of the other shite out of your shopping basket and just fill it up with meats. And the other thing is, with the meats that I suggest, fatty meats are okay. So you can have your mince that's 10% fat. You can go for the fatty pork chops and the pork loins, and you can go for, hey, if it's just you can buy yourself a ribeye steak. That's my preferred steak. Sirloin I just find is a little bit tough at times. Fillet, not enough fat in there, to be honest. Bacon, you can go for bacon. I have smoked salmon on top of my scrambled eggs in the morning. Lots of eggs, lots of cheeses and stuff, all sorts of cheeses you can splash out on. I don't much like cheddar. I find it's a bit tart and I hate the crumbly ones. I do like the brie, and I bought one today which was a cheddar with, just to contradict myself, with it says truffles. You can see little black bits. They're probably just truffle flavouring, I'm sure. And it's not too bad, actually. And there's another one which is a Stilton type blue cheese that I bought. You can try all of these things, chuck them in your salad. Oh, and I've got some buffalo mozzarella and chopped that up and dropped it in my salad and threw some olive oil all over it. And some ripe tomatoes, and it was bloody delicious. A bit of salt, bit of pepper. Perfect. So this healthy food is expensive. Is sorry to use the phrase, but it's bullshit. If you get rid of all of the other crap that you don't need in your life, and ironically is causing you all the grief that you're having with your weight, then if you can do that, you'll save money. And if you've got kids, your kids will whinge their asses off, but they'll be they will be a lot healthier. They'll probably be a lot more attentive at school. And they'll have much better energy levels as well once they establish themselves. I talk about that in podcast 2 as well, getting sorted out in that respect. So healthy food is expensive is just not true. There's something else I was going to say then. The other thing about healthy foods is because the foods you will then be eating will be a lot higher in protein, which is much better for you than lots and lots of carbohydrates. Oh, that's what I was going to say. If you haven't seen them, I've been doing a whole bunch of podcasts. No, I haven't. I've been doing a whole bunch of short form videos on Instagram, Facebook, all that. See Your Toes Again. X, and on YouTube, See Your Toes Again, on hidden sugars, where sugars are hidden in the foods we eat, like, for example, fruit juice and honey and bran and yogurts and peanut butter is actually quite good, but Nutella, all sorts of other foods. So when you watch that, you'll see how you can avoid all those sugars. While you eat sugary foods and carbohydrates like breads and things, you'll never lose weight, and they give you all sorts of problems. They really screw up your body. And ironically, they can make you feel very depressed. So if you suffer from depression, or if you just feel like shit some days, you could very well blame the sugars that you eat. If you get those out of your diet, you will be amazed you probably won't even notice, to be honest. You'll just stop feeling bad. You only notice that you're feeling depressed when you're depressed. It's a bit like having a sore toe. I know people are going to go, how dare you compare my depression to a sore toe? When you have a sore toe, it hurts. But when your toe gets better, you stop thinking about your toe. You don't think about your sore toe when it's not hurting. You only think about it when it is hurting. And it's the same with depression. You can feel like shit. And then when you get rid of this might not work for everybody, but if you feel depressed, if you feel anxious, just try it. Just try getting all of your carbs out of your diet for 2 weeks and see how you feel. I think you owe that to yourself. If it doesn't work, if you think, hey, I feel just as crap as I always did, then, well, you gave it 2 weeks. It didn't kill you. Probably did you a bit of good because you would have eaten a lot more protein. Your hair would have grown better. Your fingernails would have been stronger. Your skin would have been more elastic just in those few weeks, but it wouldn't have hurt you. Give it a go. Depression is bloody horrible. And I know if I go out, even on Sunday, Saturday, I went out, I was on the lash, I drank lots of what I would call bourbon and Coke. It was bourbon and Diet Coke. But then you're at the mercy of the barman. He thinks, I'll just give him normal Coke. He won't know. And of course, bourbon, which is like Jack Daniels. You have to ask for a Jack Daniels in this country. You can't ask for a bourbon. It doesn't say much for Jim Beam, but that's another story. So, of course, that's a bit sugary anyway. And so on Sunday, I did notice that apart from having sore joints, I also felt a bit down. In fact, I felt quite down. It could have been a lack of sleep, but I think it was a bit more than that. I think it was all the sugars that my body isn't used to anymore. By yesterday, I was back to feeling pretty good, and today I've been bouncing off the walls again because I've been eating my normal foods, I've got all that sugar out of my system, and I feel good. Sorry, I keep digressing. That's just me. Number 6, I just can't be bothered. Well, yeah, what can you say to that? I just can't be bothered. A lack of motivation. Now, here's the ironic thing, and it comes down to the depression thing that I was just talking about. I just can't be bothered could actually be a reflection of your energy levels. I know I'm going to sound a bit like a preacher here, but if your energy levels are low and you're struggling to really make ends meet day to day, emotionally or physically or energetically is the word I'm thinking of, then that could very well, again, be because of your diet. If you're eating lots of sugary foods, here's the other irony. You eat a sugary food, the sugar gets into your bloodstream and makes you feel great for half an hour or an hour, but then your insulin comes flying out. This is assuming you're not type 2 diabetic, where your insulin flies out and doesn't do anything anymore. Your insulin flies out, flogs all that sugar that's floating around in your bloodstream and takes it off to your liver because your body doesn't want to have surges in sugar energy in your body. It wants to have everything plateaued. It wants everything to be nice and calm. So when you've had this sugar, and your body isn't designed for sugar, it's just not designed for it. You have all this sugary food, it hits your bloodstream, it causes a sugar rush, you feel great, insulin is released from your pancreas, races off, catches all of your extra sugar that you've got, and takes it off to the liver. But what it does, of course, is what happens is you've gone from having too much sugar in your bloodstream, and the insulin will flog so much that you'll end up not having enough in your bloodstream. Meanwhile, all that sugar that gets to your liver gets converted to fat, but that's another story. So suddenly you haven't got enough energy in your bloodstream and you feel like shit. And that's when you have your 2 o'clock crash if you've had a carby lunch. And so and then you feel like shit. If you're behind the wheel, that can be a real problem because you feel like falling asleep behind the wheel. Or if you're at the computer station, of course, you're thinking, I hope the boss doesn't notice, so I just have a quick nap on my keyboard. Now, that's all because of the carbohydrates you've been eating. So if you stop eating all of those carbohydrates, you won't have that. What we need to do is get rid of all of those sugary carbohydrates out of your system, and then you won't have all of those energy fluctuations, and you'll feel better. And so, getting back to, I just can't be bothered. Yeah, it could just be that you're a lazy bastard. And you don't mind being overweight, but if that's the case, you're probably not listening to this podcast. You've probably stopped by now anyway. So if you are concerned about trimming down, getting healthier, putting on a bit of lean muscle, all that stuff, but you can't be bothered, it could be because your energy levels just are saying no. Just saying, hey, I haven't got enough energy to do any more of this shit that you're suggesting. So on that basis, ironically, don't do the gym for a week or two, but change your diet. Listen to my other podcasts or go to my website, or better still, buy my book. It's called, what's it called? From Fatty to Fitty. It should be pretty easy to remember. Fitty, Fitty. So it's called From Fatty to Fitty. It's exclusive on Amazon. The paperback goes out for like £7.85 or something pound. £9.50 or £9.90. Sorry, $9 American, $9.90, something like that. By that, it explains all of it to you and explains all the foods and explains all sorts of stuff that I often talk about. It's worth the read. It's 190 pages, and it's good for insomnia too. If you're struggling to go to sleep, just read the book. A few pages will do it. Number 7, I don't need to lose much. I can do it all. You can tell I wrote it down, and I haven't got my glasses on. I don't need to lose much. I can do it all alone. I do get quite a bit of this. I chat to blokes, especially colleagues, and guys that have got a bit of extra weight at the gym, and I say, how are you getting on with that? Oh, yeah, look, I could do with getting rid of another 5 or 10 pounds, but I'm all right. I'm okay. I can do that on my own. It's like, yeah, I can see you can't, though. That's the problem. Because most of these guys have stayed in their weight category for a long time. And unless you make a significant change, you're going to stay that weight. Or if you keep eating all these carby foods, you're going to increase your weight. And as you get older, you'll become slower as far as movement is concerned. Your body will slowly but surely, you'll start to lose more and more muscle. So then you'll have less muscle to burn. And it's a downward spiral, which we need to stop. We need to make an upward spiral, not a downward spiral. So I don't need to lose much. I can do it on my own. If that's the case, then that's fine. But it doesn't hurt to make a few adjustments. And those adjustments would, in my opinion, include do a bit more exercise, especially your weight training. Chuck in a little bit of cardio as well. Like I said, once a week does a huge difference. And be wary of what you eat, in as much as I'm not suggesting dieting or calorie counting, but what you eat as far as all of the bready, high carb, pasta-y, sugary foods. The problem is with a lot of processed foods, they've got a lot of sugar in them and they're hidden. And that's why I'm doing all of these short form videos. So if you don't need to, that's fine. Getting down to a healthy weight isn't just losing a couple of pounds, though. You have to think that if you're sitting at, say, 85 kilos and saying, I'm fine, I'm healthy, I look all right, the missus doesn't mind, or the mister. If you're 85 kilos, though, and you're, say, 5'8", something like that, I could work out your BMI, but chances are your healthy weight should be down around, probably around 70 to 75 kilos. That's your top healthy weight, would probably be about 75 kilograms. So if you're 85 kilos, you've got 10 kilograms, which is 22 pounds, of excess body weight to get rid of. And you need to get rid of it. I don't want to be the nag, but you need to get rid of it because it's unhealthy. It's affecting you every day of your life. It's affecting your heart now more than it ever did. It's potentially giving you diabetes, and it's probably already given you blood pressure problems. You need to do something about it. All I'm suggesting is change a few of your foods, and if you can get down to the gym and push a few weights, you'll feel a lot better about it. It's not a big thing. And yes, you probably can do it on your own, but if you want some help, then go to my website, have a look, follow me on my Instagram and all of that stuff, YouTube and Facebook. If you want coaching, I do coaching as far as diet and weight and gym is concerned, mainly diet and motivation and gym. So go and have a look on my website. That's another thing I must admit I'm a bit lax over. I need to get that stuff sorted. If you want to know more about coaching, my coaching and stuff, and it's not on the website, then just email me or direct message me and say, oi, and just write a single line like coaching or something like that. and I'll get back to you. So that gives you a fairly good idea of reasons that you should be hopefully thinking, well, actually, I have fallen into those categories before, and they are excuses, and maybe it's time that I stop doing the excuses and get on with it. The easiest way as a first step would be, and I know this sounds like a sales gimmick, but I did spend a lot of time writing this bloody book. It took me ages, and it covers as many aspects as I can, with exception to the gym. I do talk about exercise, but I don't give you a gym program. I do talk about good foods and bad foods, and I have lists of all of those in my book. So from fatty to fitty, it's on Amazon. Doesn't cost much. Buy it, read it, contact me if you want, and feel free, subscribe to this podcast, subscribe to any of my channels, like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and get going. And let's get going before New Year. Wouldn't that be good? All right. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your time. Oh, by the way, if you can, if you feel up to it, if you like the podcast, then if you can subscribe, would be great. If you can give me a star rating, that'd be great. And if you could just write a couple of words like "he's a prat and he swears a bit, but I don't mind listening to him," then that would be really helpful, because the machinery behind all of these podcasts reads that and determines whether it wants to send me out to other people to listen. All right, have a good time. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.